Hey everybody, this is Danny Davis, the Oscar American-Statesman. This is emergency Longhorn Confidential. It's kind of funny how this beat works. I had PTO today, and I know Eck and Cedric were expecting to kind of have a nice little Thursday afternoon off, and the University of Texas said, "Nah,
Ah,
y'all gonna be working today." And we got that email about an hour or so ago. We're taping this around 4 o'clock, and it said Pete Kwiatkowski fired. Will Muschamp hired, and I'm sure some of us thought this may have been a prank. PK had been the defensive coordinator here at Texas for 5 seasons, ever since Steve Sarkisian got hired. Had his share of successes. Will Muschamp, we'll talk about in a second. Former DC and head coach in waiting here. So there's a lot to unpack. We're all start with Pete Kwiatkowski being ousted, since that's kind of the big stunning news today. Well, both of them are stunning headlines. Eck, when you first saw this tweet, email, text, whatever, however you got delivered the news, what was your reaction and what do you think of the news today?
well, I got it. For some reason, for the life of me, I cannot get on the University of Texas listserv for a variety of things. And so I saw it on Twitter at first, and I thought it was fake. Like I did you know how when the Mavs traded Luka Doncic, everybody thought Shams got hacked. Like I had a little bit of a moment like that, because it's just like, I mean, if you're talking about the best performing assistants on this staff, I think PK is pretty high on that list. So, I mean, the more I thought about it, I mean, yeah, I do think that this defense, this in particular, probably underperformed its talent level, but the body of work for Pete Kwiatkowski at Texas has just been nothing but really good. So I just think it's stunning. It's a big gamble for Steve Sarkisian, in my opinion.
We'll go to you. Not so much what were your initial reactions, but what do you think this news says about Steve Sarkisian and this Texas football program and what's next for this team? We'll talk about the Will Muschamp hire in a second, but what does this firing say in your opinion?
I think it's an answer to the pundit, the detractors who go, how do you lose to Florida? How do you give up 45 to Mississippi State? How do and the Kentucky wasn't on PK. They only gave up 16, but those two performances are um, especially the Florida one is what kept Texas out of the CFP. And I don't know that Sark was looking for a scapegoat, Daniel, but it's a message to Longhorn Nation that he's not going to sit pat at 9-3 and stick with the status quo. Will Muschamp was the DC on the last great Texas football team, and that was 2009, where they had Nick Saban on the run early in that game, and Colt McCoy got hurt, and it was never the same. So he was the head coach in waiting because he was once thought that Mac was going to ride off into the sunset, and Mac kept showing back up. And finally, Muschamp was like, you know what? I can't stay at the altar forever. I'm gonna go find me a head coaching job. And he did. And so um PK's done a really good job here, but I think that Muschamp is an upgrade because he's coached at a high level under some of the best coaches to ever do it. He was Nick Saban's defensive coordinator on championship team at LSU. He was he was a DC for Mac Brown, and then he's been a head coach in this league, so he knows these SEC streets. It's going to help in recruiting. It's going to help in reputation. It's going to help in cachet. PK won't be unemployed for long, but I can see why Sark would pull the trigger for Coach Boom.
Yeah, I do wonder if this is a Will Muschamp um, ch- opportunity to get Will Muschamp on board, or if this is one of those things where Steve just needed to shake some things up with his staff. Because
Or
you
both.
look over his
Could
first
be
four off
both.
seasons, he fired one coach during that time. Other assistants left for better jobs, but he fired one coach. He had not fired a coordinator his entire time here. It was the same three coordinators throughout. I think if you had asked me at 2 o'clock this afternoon that, hey, Texas is going to fire a coordinator, you have three guesses to guess which one, I probably would not have guessed PK, even though there's only three there. Just because I thought Kyle Flood left a lot to be desired this year, and Jeff Banks' his special teams were not great for the most part, Ryan Niblett aside. Um, So yeah, it is surprising, but I think Jeff Banks and Kyle Flood are kind of Steve's right hand men, and PK may have been the outsider in that group. And if you want to change some things up, and we should say Dwayne Aquina is also out. I did not mention that at the top, and his 1 year reunion with Texas is gone, so Texas needs a new safeties coach. I would assume there may be some other changes. If Will Muschamp wants to bring in some of his guys in the next couple of weeks, but this seems to me like this is a Steve. Here's the Longhorn Nation's loud and clear. Probably here's the people in the tower loud and clear that this year was a disappointment, and they cannot just do run it back. They need to do some more changes, and this is just part of it. And some teams probably gonna get a very good defensive coordinator because of that. But I think this is just a sign that some changes need to be done. Back really quickly to you, and Seth, really quickly to you. Do you think this at all says, Steve, that seat's getting a little warm if things don't, because we've seen in the past, baseball just a couple years ago with David Pierce, that you kind of give one chance to reset your coordinators, and then the heat really gets turned up on you. Do you think, that is Steve Sarkisian on a hot seat?
Go ahead, Ced. You first.
Not yet. It's warm. Warm, Daniel. Like when you're ironing clothes and you kind of dab at the iron. You don't put your full palm on it, but you just kind of dab at it. And like at first it's a little cool, but then like 30 seconds later you go, oh yeah, I can use it now. That's where he's in between those two settings. It's a warm seat. They love Sark. The leadership here loves Sark. CDC loves him. Jim Davis loves him. Kevin Eltife loves him. They don't love 9-3, but they love Sark. And I think that Sark knows that with this job comes a certain degree of expectations 4 years after 5-7. That's a testament to him, what he's built here. The expectations are sky high for a team that's won only one championship since 1970. So, but they're sky high. He's handling business. If it doesn't work out, then Steve Sarkisian's seat's going to go from off to linen, and I think linen is the hottest setting on an iron.
What do you think?
I don't know. I think it speaks to the change in how we're evaluating coaches under the 12-team playoff format, right? Because if you're Steve Sarkisian and you're a top 5, top 4 team for 2 years in a row, and then 1 year you're 9-3, and there isn't this expectation that, hey, we've got to be in this 12-team playoff or else it's a failure, then I don't think his seat's warm. I think the
We'll go 9-3 again.
Yeah, exactly. I think if he has another season where he doesn't get in, then it gets uncomfortable. But I think the fact that you've got this very clear-cut, larger playoff field to aim for, kind of ups the pressure on coaches everywhere, right? Because it's, the playoff is no longer this exclusive group. It's an expectation, right? It's no longer, hey, we'll do this when we have a great year. It's you better be in this or else. And so, if he doesn't get in next year, I'll be curious to see what happens. But I do think it signals that maybe he's a little uncomfortable in his chair.
Really quick before we get out of here, we need to talk about the new DC. Will Muschamp is coming in. Texas fans obviously do need no introduction here. Will was the defensive coordinator here from 2008 to 2010. At one point was the head coaching waiting under Mac Brown. Instead, he took the Florida head coaching job, coached a few years at South Carolina as well. Been working at Georgia for the last 3 or 4 years. This past season as just an analyst, but he has been a defensive coordinator for the Bulldogs. Said when Will was last here, Eck was probably in elementary school. I had hair.
Right.
So it's been a while. Neither of us was on this beat, but you definitely were. You were still you were reporting the Longhorns all that time ago. You said that you felt that Will's an upgrade over PK, and that this was a good move and a move that Texas fans shouldn't be fretting over. Why? What is Texas getting in Will Muschamp?
Intensity, fire, a guy that lives in the film room, someone who's not afraid to take chances. Someone who's not afraid to get in a player's face. It's going to be interesting to see the generation that he's coaching now is the NIL generation. These guys are making good money now, and so with that they go, well, back in the days, like I'm on scholarship, I can't lose this scholarship. If I transfer, I got to sit out a year, and that puts the NFL off a year. But now they're like, oh, I'll leave next week. I don't care. So it'll be interesting to see if that still plays. He's still been part of successful college coaching staffs, and like I said before, the guy he's an SEC born guy. This is where he's from. He played football at Georgia, and he's a guy that lives and breathes the SEC. They need people like that to help Texas get entrenched in this conference. Horns off to a really good start in the SEC. Really good start in the SEC. But to stay there, they're going to need to continue to improve, and that's where I think Sarkisian saw the need to make this move. It sends a message that they're not comfortable on the outside looking in, and that's a good thing. If they had snuck in at 9-3, I believe that PK would still be the defensive coordinator. But like you said earlier, Daniel, I think he needed to shake some things up, and Longhorn Nation, consider yourselves shook.
We're going to get out of here. This is just a little emergency Longhorn Confidential. We needed to definitely react to it. Maybe the biggest news of this offseason. It's been a pretty busy offseason, and I think it's probably not going to quiet down anytime soon. But Citrus Bowl, December 31st. Team gets there on the 26th. PK obviously will not be there. Dwayne Keenan will not be there. Chad Scott, the running backs coach, will not be there.
Damn, who's going to be there? They ran out of coaches. Who's going to be
there? Are you going to play corner for them, Danny?
I think Jelani McDonald's not going to be there. Michael Tapp, not going to be there. CJ Baxter, he's in the portal. He's not going to be there. Leongo Lafau, the linebacker, not going to be there. So this is going to be kind of a new look team. March Manning will be there, but there'll be a lot of changes.
Won't be there.
Who?
Trey Moore's gone.
Everyone's taking off and leaving. It's going to be a new look team. A preview of the 2026 season. I'd assume maybe Jordan Anderson is kind of going to be leading the charge. Maybe to call in some defensive plays. I don't think Will Muschamp's going to be installed that quickly, but we'll get a chance to talk to at least one defensive coordinator or defensive coach on the 28th. Team gets there on the 26th. But so we're going to have a lot of coverage going forward. Eck had the breaking news today, so be sure to check out statesman.com for his story. Sed's writing a reactionary piece to the Will Muschamp hire, so that will also be on statesman.com. And I'm going back on my PTO unless more news breaks, but that's just how this business is. But we appreciate y'all checking us out on YouTube, wherever you get these Longhorn Confidentials, and we'll see you in Orlando for the Citrus Bowl. Deuces.